How have you been doing with everything? How's everything going your end? Have you been okay?
Yeah,
How's it
I've been
been
all
going?
right. I mean, it's been a very, this year's been mad. I
Yeah,
can't, when I sit and I think about this year, it almost feels like a weird dream that I just haven't woken up from. Dream,
yeah,
nightmare, one of the two. Um, but yeah, it's been, I think it's been transformational, really. I'm talking to you,
exactly.
which is great, you know.
Hey, not every day you do that. Huge congrats on the show.
Thank you.
Again, I think we spoke this time last year sometime we spoke
Yes, yeah.
before about the show, and even then it was seemed to be going quite well. But it's gone pretty, gone gangbusters, as they say. How does that feel? The show's been going amazingly well.
It feels incredible that it's going really well. And I think, over time, I think people have heard about it. I think the word of mouth is so powerful, especially with when it comes to like streaming outlets, because, it's there and it's ready to be watched. And there's been a lot of new people over this time that have watched the show and now we're really excited to see the second season. So I'm just, I'm so proud of being part of this incredible show. I hope it does really well and I hope that people really enjoy it. And yeah, it's all exciting stuff, something to look forward to during this time, something to
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, and it seems that people, like you say, people have the power of television these days is that you can watch it on streaming, you can watch it on catch up, and that's how people seem to discover things even more than they did before. That must be exciting knowing that you're reaching an audience that perhaps you might not have reached in other ways, that people have been sitting down and taking on the story and been enjoying it.
Oh yeah, 100%, because it is there.
Mm.
I've had some friends who've known that I've done it. I did the show and everything, but I haven't got around to watching it. And now that they know that the second season is coming on, they've binged watched the first season, and then and they go and tell everybody, you should go and watch this, and yeah, it's brilliant, and it's the new way of, obviously it's not terrestrial TV, that you can go back to it and you can continue to watch, you can repeat episodes, you can rewind, you can do whatever you want to do. And yeah, it's exciting to be part of this new generation of viewing.
Yeah. And how exciting is it to get to go back for a second season? Because not all shows get to do that. So that's a unique thing in itself. It must have been amazing to get the scripts, to get the news that you were going to go and do a season 2, because there's so much more to discover with this show and these people.
Oh my gosh, it was like going back to my family, because a lot of the, obviously the cast and crew, with new people as well, but a lot of the crew, especially because I love the crew so much, they were from the first season. So going in was like, hey guys, it was really nice. I was just like, oh, hey Ron, and it was great. And it felt like, once again, as a family, we were creating this beautiful project together. So yeah, definitely this time it felt like, my feet were firmly on the ground. I knew where Lina was, I knew what was going on with her, and I knew the whole setup of everything, and I know how everybody works. And yeah, it just felt like it just kind of slotted into place, and then we got things going. So it was brilliant.
Yeah. Were there many surprises for you when the scripts came in with your character? Did it kind of take you aback at all, or was it kind of what you had expected? Or is it good to have a few surprises before you get into it again?
You know what? I love a surprise. I'm not going to lie. I love a bit of a surprise. So I think the thing that I really love this time around, we get to see more of Lina outside of the palace. So then that then informs the way that you see her in the palace. And I think that's one thing that, I thoroughly enjoyed this season. She has her own family, she's got her own unit, she's got her own house. And one of the beautiful surprises for me is that Lina and Oviedo have almost a very modern relationship. So it felt nice to be able to play around with that modern aspect of their lives. They're both working people, and they both they got to pay their bills, they've got a family, you know what I mean, and then how that then relates to how she kind of has to stifle herself when she gets to the palace and things like that. So it was really nice to play the contrast between the two, and yeah, different aspects of her life. So yeah.
Yeah. And how have you enjoyed the challenge of playing this character? I mean, what drew you to her in the first instance, and how how have you found her journey so far? Because obviously, you know, a lot of these things really did happen, and we're kind of learning about the history of it as we go.
One thing that drew me to her was just her strength. She is the lioness. I think the way that Matthew and Emma have written her is that she very much is the rock that holds Catherine down, that tells Catherine, actually, that's not right. Not written in a submissive way. Yes, she may stifle her thoughts at times, but she very much is a person who knows herself, but also trying to find, she's a person of contrasts. And that's one thing that really appealed to me as a person and as an actor, and to want to play her, because we as humans are full of juxtapositions. She really, obviously being a Black person on court, at the court, is something that hasn't really been explored before. And seeing myself within a period drama was very important to me. And I love the way that she's been written, because she's not written in a stereotypical sort of generic way. She's written as a human being. And I feel very blessed to be able to play someone so incredible, someone who has her place within this series and within the court and within the palace and with Catherine. So yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about obviously your character, as you say, she's of this world, and she was of this world, so it's important to tell her story. But I was just saying to Laura about the image of Charlotte as the queen going to battle while she's pregnant, which is something that actually, you know, part of history. I mean, how important do you think it is that these stories are told of these, not just these women, but of these people, of their time, and that there's a lot of things in this show that we're still kind of wrestling with even in 2020. It's quite strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, because a lot of things you would think, okay, well, that was then, those things happened back then. A lot of the themes that happen within the show and a lot of things that's happened then are still happening now. And, sometimes, what do they say? Fact is stranger than fiction or something. And, the fact that she, rode off and she was pregnant and, she went into battle and things like that, is truly like, during that time, it boggles my mind that she would ever be able to do anything like that. And I think the great thing about this show is that, a lot of history has been told from the male gaze, from the male aspect of things. And this show flips it on its head, because now finally we're hearing the women's side of the events that took place. So, I mean, the fact that, history says that Catherine of Aragon had multiple pregnancies within a short space of time, had multiple miscarriages, had to deal with the death of her children and still persevere and still be Queen of England and still wants to give Henry a child. I never really took into account how much damage that does to a person psychologically and physically. So I think it's so important. I think, during these times, we're becoming more open with, in general, we're becoming more open with discussions about the uncomfortable, about the taboo. And this show really has a way of putting that to the forefront and allowing conversation to happen. And yeah, being able to see women, real women from that time, going through things that women of our time go through is truly incredible and important. And it needs to be told. These stories need to be told.
Yeah. Do you think that's why, excuse me, do you think that's why audiences are drawn to kind of the historical stories? Because there's this one, there's so many others that people seem to be drawn to, not just because they're exciting and because they've got interesting characters, but the kind of the history element of it is such a big lure for a lot of people, particularly in Britain and Europe. But why do you think we are so drawn to these people from history?
Do you know what? I mean, I always say that these stories are really juicy. Like, they're so juicy. So you can't even, and the thing is, you can't even make it up. Like, these things actually happened. And I think it goes back to the point that a lot of things that happened then are still happening now. But, we wear, beautiful, elegant dresses and, we're part of the palace and things like that. But the human aspect of it is still very much there. And obviously, I think people watch it for the glamour and the costumes and the decadence of it all. But when we go down to the sort of the crux of the matter, it is the fact that the things that happened then are very much still happening now. And yeah, and I know that I know that, you know, we love history. That British history in general is just mad. So, and it's an escapism as well, you know, with everything that's going on right now. Sometimes it's nice to just put yourself in a place where, okay, that was then. I'm going to indulge and be in that space while all of the madness around us is sort of going on. So there's loads of things that attract audiences to period dramas, and those are just a few of them.
Yeah, only just a few.
Just a
Just a few. Another thing that comes across, and I think I spoke to you about this before, is the kind of the camaraderie between you all as an ensemble, not just the actors, but the you know, the technicians and all the guys behind the scenes. You seem to get on amazingly well. That can only add to the story and to the drama of it all, I guess. I mean, how good is that you guys have that rapport, that you can, you know, Laura was saying that you guys go off and do crosswords and all these other things together, but you kind of have. Yeah, she said, yeah, and something else she mentioned, a banana game or something.
There's plenty of things, you know.
yeah. But how important is that you have all that stuff, you know, kind of space away from it all, but that also kind of helps on the screen, and that you guys have become such great friends?
I mean, we're dealing with uncomfortable matters, and so when you build a level of trust and camaraderie with people, you can only greatness can come from that. And like I said before, it really genuinely felt like a family. And yeah, we'd go off, and, you know, as soon as they say, you know, cut, and we've got, you know, a couple of minutes, we get the puzzles out, you know, we got the cards, we're telling jokes, we're doing, you know, silly pictures and things like that. And it just, sometimes, because we are dealing with such difficult subject matter, it's nice to just kind of snap back into reality and the playfulness of it all. And honestly, I think the friendship and the sort of love that we have for each other behind the scenes really radiates through what we've done, because there is a love and there is a passion, and all of us want to make this the best show that it could possibly be. And that's not just the actors, it's everyone, down to the caterers. I absolutely love the caterers. You know, everybody who's, if you take out a part of any department, the whole thing would crumble. And we were such a tight knit of people from all different backgrounds and all different, you know, everyone's got their own job to do. But it really does show that, you know, if you work together and you work as a team, and there's, you know, love and there's friendship, you can make something incredible. And that's exactly what we've done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, you know, you'd love to play this character forever, but, you know, history would dictate that you can't, obviously. But is there something? Well, you never know. Just as a final question, then, I mean, is there something that you'll miss about Lina when you have to say goodbye? Is there something, an attribute of hers that you probably miss, or that you'll maybe even keep with you as you carry on through the rest of your career?
I would say there's many things about her that I really love. I think she's very relatable in many ways. One thing that I love about her is her integrity and her loyalty. She's not trying to step on anybody's head to get to where she wants to be. She just wants to live a life of peace. She just wants to make sure the people around her are happy. And that's one thing that I absolutely love about her. She often puts other people ahead of herself because she cares, you know. Sometimes she lets out the truth, and sometimes the truth isn't what people want to hear, especially Catherine. They don't want to hear, but it all comes from a place of love. And I think one thing that I'm really going to miss about her is her true integrity. And I think being a Black woman during that time, being a woman during that time where you know, women's voices weren't really heard, it's so incredible to have someone who really stands on her own 2 feet, who really cares, and who is just a lioness, you know, the rock that holds, the glue that holds everything together, the rock that holds everybody down. And, you know, I'm going to really miss just getting on set, having my corset on and just getting into her, because it just felt, by the end of it, it just felt like part of me. I just knew, okay, I'm rolling an action. Okay, Lina, I'm gonna do all of that, and I just feel very grateful that I had the opportunity to play someone so incredible.
Amazing. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for your time. Absolute pleasure chatting to you again, and good luck with everything. Hope it all goes well.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey, you guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey,